Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, tarot enthusiast, and your local witch next door, and today I'm talking about tarot and rose. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. Thanks so much for those of you who were able to attend my virtual tarot card creation event recently. Check your emails for the follow-up info, which will have a replay of the event recording, a PDF I made with my step-by-step process, and an offer to join my upcoming series called Tarot for Transformation. If you weren't able to attend live or didn't register in time, you can go ahead and get the full hour-long recording with my step-by-step method, examples of the tarot cards I've created, journaling questions, and a PDF to walk you through it for just $33. You can click here in the show notes to purchase now. And like I said, I will be offering a 12-week Tarot for Transformation live course this summer. So if you're interested, the link is in the show notes as well to sign up for more information. If you love the show, the best way to support it for free is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. I did just update my Patreon benefits to be bigger and better than ever. So now if you join the lovers of the podcast level on the Patreon, you will get access to an exclusive Discord to chat with me during live streams, during my new moon collective tarot readings, and I will pull a card for each one of my patrons in addition to the new moon collective spread. So if you want an individual card pulled for you once a month live on the podcast, join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family. If you'd like to support the podcast even further, you can get a one-time individual 5-card reading in addition to all the other benefits if you join the Witch Bitch level on the Patreon. If you're local to the greater Puget Sound area, I have some events coming up. So this Saturday, July 12th, I will be at Tacoma Pride, which will be in Wright Park from 12 to 6 p.m. I will be there handing out stickers for my podcast. You can come say hi, and also I will have all of my craft supplies for tarot card creation. So if you missed my virtual event, you haven't been able to come to the meetup group to check it out, if you're going to be at Tacoma Pride, stop by and say hello. All right, and that's it for the most recent coming events. I will be doing another full moon circle, most likely next time in September. We'll be getting feedback from the event this week to see what people are interested in. You can be looking out for the next new moon, where I'll be doing a live collective reading again. And that's it for now. You can always check the Let's Talk Tarot meetup group, which is linked in the show notes for the latest event postings. If you're interested in my free PDF with the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you, my lovely listeners, at the beginning of this year, you can get that by joining my newsletter list. So my weekly newsletters always have the most up-to-date information on upcoming events, presentations, and more. And if you don't already know, I'm a sex and relationships therapist, seeing clients virtually all over Washington State. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients. So if you'd like to work with a therapist that doesn't judge you, is witchy just like you can head to my website and book a free consultation now to start your journey. So you can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull on each episode. So welcome. We are into season 11 now, where I'm talking all about tarot and plant allies. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you should check those out. I've talked tarot basics. I've gone through all of the 78 tarot cards, one per episode, throughout the earlier part of this year. I've done 13 common tarot spreads and talked about tarot and pop culture. And my most recent season was talking about tarot and witchcraft. So check those out if you haven't listened to those yet. And like I said, we are here in season 11 now, where we're talking all about tarot and plant allies. And today we're talking about tarot and rose, or roses. So you probably also know what this plant is, but the plant description for roses, I will be referencing the medicinal herb coloring book. I will have that linked in the show notes as well. But roses are a perennial shrub with many iterations, some of which have a climbing habit. They are grown in gardens plants worldwide and also found in hedgerows and woodlands. Like dog rose, rose petals' astringent action can make it useful for things like diarrhea, heavy menstrual bleeding, and mouth health, such as bleeding gums or ulcers. A strong infusion is used in an eye wash to treat conjunctivitis, as well as for skin complaints, such as for caring for minor burns. Their cooling nature can help during fevers. The autumn fruits of the rose, also called rose hips, are high in vitamin C and commonly made into syrups. Roses are also grown for their beautiful scent in perfumes and cosmetics, which are probably what you're most familiar with. So like they said, there's many different kinds of roses. Often they smell good, often they are pretty. I recently went to Portland, Oregon's Rose Garden about almost a month ago now, when their roses were in bloom, and it was beautiful, truly, like hundreds of roses there. So if you have a chance to check out a rose garden when it's in full bloom, that's quite fun. You can get to figure out what kind of roses you like. Do you like the climbing ones? Do you only want ones that smell really good? Do you like, there's like multi-headed ones, so they grow a bunch of flowers all on one stem, or do you like the single stem flowers, which is mostly what you see in like flower bouquets? But yeah, generally roses are, a woody stem, often with thorns, small green leaves, sometimes dark, sometimes light green, and then usually a multi-petaled, soft petaled flower on top. And like I said, some are, more open. There's lots of different colors. I have two kinds of roses in my front yard that will be in the images for the show today. One of them is a lot more tightly petaled, and the other is more open. So the more open one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 petals. So it's like 5 on the inside, 5 on the outside, sort of. And the other one has a lot. This one is more closed up right now. It's a very peachy rose, which I really like the color of that. But yeah, that's very fun. So that's sort of the plant description. Like I said, you're probably familiar with roses in gardens, roses in skincare a lot of the time, or the smell of rose water or sort of rose extract and different things, also used in baking. So if we think about correspondences or more the plant magic of rose, so roses are ruled by Venus. The sort of, which I associate with kind of like the Empress tarot card. I have 5 tarot cards in front of me today, all from the Goddess of Love tarot deck by Gabriela Herstick and illustrated by Julia Popescu, because this whole deck is full of roses. The back of the cards have roses and pink, and it's very, and the whole cups suit has roses. I pulled 5 different cards from that to sort of get the vibe today. I pulled some red, some rose quartz crystals, some like garnets, some amethyst, some sea glass, different things that I associate with rose or sort of Venus, which again is sort of a watery goddess. What else? Venus is associated with Fridays. So this episode is coming out on a Friday, which I did plan on purpose. If we think about the rose, it's like a vulnerable yet strong, like love and compassion, beauty and abundance in every stage of life. So I'm looking again at the partingthemist.com blog, where they talk about different tarot cards, and today's tarot card is Rose, and it is the Empress card, and it is out of the Herb Crafters Tarot by Letitia Guthrie and artist Joanna Paul Colbert. And like I said, so they associate Rose with the Empress, which is one of the tarot cards I pulled without looking. So go me. And so, yeah, they talk about, you see some wild roses in the card, and wild roses look different than cultivated roses. Not entirely, but they usually just have smaller flowers. There is wild rose, also known as like dog rose or Rosa rugosa, I believe is the Latin name. Often I see them where I live, down by the river area. And again, they have very thin stems. They have thorns, but they're more like I don't know, other berry thorns that I'm familiar with. Not as hard, but a little softer. And then quite small flowers. I would say like, I'm trying to think of what size they are. What kind of fruit is the right size? I'm like apricot. I don't know. I have some apricots right now. Strawberry size. I don't know. Not super big. And they are sort of pinky magenta color. So yeah, roses bloom, which we love and we're well aware of, but also after they're done blooming, they actually sort of like close up or they form a fruit, which is considered rose hips. They're not great to just like eat, even though they are considered a fruit, but they are often infused or made into other things or used. They do have vitamin C in them, which is an important like a supplement or mineral or vitamin to have in the winter time, right? We know vitamin C is in citrus things, which also are in the winter, or a winter fruit in a lot of parts of the world. Yeah, let's see what else. They talk about that this Empress Rose card is about healing the heart, heals the world. Learn to be vulnerable yet strong, like the delicate petals of the rose protected by thorns. Roses uplift the spirit and inspire love, embody sensuality in bold, vibrant ways. Let creativity and abundance flourish around you and within you. Wild roses are prolific, creating food, medicine, and shelter for those who encounter them. As all parts of the rose contain medicine, every stage of your life find passionate expression. Create, make, love, play. It is a fertile, generative time. So they talk about if you're gonna, craft with roses, you can arrange them, you can put them on your altar, which is what I did today. I have a red candle and 2 different roses I got. You can create a rosary out of rose buds, rose hips, or dried rose petals by stringing them right onto like a necklace or some twine or string. There's lots of different remedies in different seasons. So you can have it says rose buds for childhood, full blooms for midlife, and hips, so rose hips for elderhood. And again, this is from the Herb Crafters Tarot, which again, I really like this deck that I'm seeing online, so maybe I'll have to check it out. And so, yeah, a lot of us are familiar with the blooms of roses, but maybe less so about the other aspects of rose, which are like things you can eat. Again, we're familiar with rose water. I think it often gets used in skincare. You can put roses just like in your bath water. So roses are a thing that, like a lot of plants, get sprayed with pesticides, or sometimes, pesticides, especially when they're cultivated in mass quantity. So if you can get organic rose flowers in a bouquet, that's great if you plan to use them to try to make any skincare or put them in your bath. I realize it's not super accessible. You can also you can grow your own. You can get rose bushes from most garden nurseries, maybe not all times of year. I got some at the end of last summer because they're very much fading by then at the end of the hot summer. So that can be a good time to buy them if you're willing to wait till the next year to see the flowers, or so you can plant them so they can sort of root in over winter. That's what I did. They're often a bit cheaper at that time of year, but of course you can buy them whenever you would like. Let's see, what else? I did try to look up like rose associations with tarot cards, and I mostly just found people talking about in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, there are cards that have roses on them. Some depict white roses and some are red, and there was just lots of online discussion about why certain ones were red and white. I actually don't have any Rider-Waite-Smith decks. I know they're very popular. I have plenty of tarot decks that are based off of that system. But in generally, I have to look up sort of what they traditionally look like. But yeah, roses are associated with love, passion, beauty, and spirituality, often representative of the heart, romantic love, and like the feminine or the divine feminine. They can also signify wisdom, healing, and mysteries of the soul. So again, I think lots of different tarot cards could be associated with that. Yeah, so let's move into the relation to the tarot. So the cards that I pulled, where I pulled the Empress and I pulled the Lover's card, because those ones seem sort of obvious to me. And then in this deck, like I said, a lot of the Cups cards have roses on them, pink roses. So I pulled the Ace of Cups, the Nine of Cups, and the Queen of Cups as well. And this is the Goddess of Love tarot deck. Here, so I was going to look up the Empress because that's the one I saw that I first thought of, and I know it depicts Venus in this deck. Come on, there we go. Which is also like associated with Friday and flowers and Venus. So there's this like, they're all in like the same sort of correspondence sphere. But yeah, I was going to read from that part of the Goddess of Love tarot deck, since I think Venus is the one like most commonly associated with roses. So we have, again, the Goddess Venus. This is the Empress card. It says the Empress is effortlessly aligned with the promise of the heart and of pleasure. As Venus, the Roman goddess of sex, love, lust, glamour, victory, and desire, the Empress isn't just an expression of the goddess of love, she is the goddess of love. Venus sings of pleasure as sustenance, of desire as a guiding force, and of beauty as a language of the divine. Venus is an emblem of being a vessel for the divine erotic. Her fecundity represents something being birthed. She's a manifestation of light and body-led guidance that leads to pleasure and connection. The Empress comes up during those fertile moments when the desires and experiences you seek are at the edge of manifestation. There's a time of inner transformation and of the joys that come with bringing something into the world, whether this is a creative project, a relationship, a child, or a new way of practicing magic. When the Empress appears, remember to indulge in whatever connects you to the Venusian current. Drape yourself in delicious fabrics, kiss slowly, bask in nature, buy yourself flowers, or move your body as you breathe and make sounds. The Empress asks you to tap into the pleasure all around. When the card is reversed, it says you might need to connect to that receptivity. You're cutting yourself off from this gift from the goddess. So the affirmation associated with this card says, I am a goddess of love, lust, and erotic devotion. I come back to myself, my body, and my sacred heart. And the journal question is, how does the Empress guide me into experiencing sensuality in my body? And there is a ritual associated with this card. I'm not going to read all of it, but they talk about building an altar to the Empress or Venus that can have red roses, crystals, gold jewelry or talismans, green, red, or pink candles, icons of the goddess of love, books of erotic poetry, shells, plants, honey, chocolate, food, sweets, or water, or whatever makes you feel connected to your heart, to the goddess of love and sex, or to the universe. You can light a candle if you wish and pray to the Empress or Venus, asking her to guide you in embodying her power. You can repeat the affirmation that's above, which is, I am a goddess of love, lust, and erotic devotion. I come back to myself, my body, and my sacred heart. And again, you can come back to this space whenever you need to embrace your inner Empress. And you can, create an altar like that. All right. So lastly, I wanted to get into, some uses for rose. Like I said, there's some common ones like skincare, or different things with rose hips, or, just picking the flowers or having a bouquet. In the Hearth Witches Compendium, Magical and Natural Living for Every Day by Anna Franklin, they talk about that the magical herbalism associated with roses are long. They talk about rebirth, resurrection, funerals, memorials, initiations, luck, love, passion, sexuality, sensuality, seduction, marriage, the great rite, hand fasting, and Beltane. The white rose represents purity, perfection, innocence, virginity, and the maiden goddess, while the red is earthly passion, fertility, and the mother goddess. Red roses are ruled by Jupiter, damask roses by the planet Venus, and white roses by the moon. All fall under the element of water, and they are sacred to Dionysus, Aphrodite, Artemis, Aurora, Bacchus, Baudwed, Christ, Cupid, Demeter, Dionysus, Eros, Flora, Freya, Hathor, Horus, Hulda, Hymen, Inanna, Ishtar, Isis, Kubaba, the Mothers, Nike, Ninciana, Saul, Venus, Virgin Mary, and Vishnu. So again, well loved by many, a god, a goddess, a person, right? We have different color roses to mean different things, especially in the sort of sense of flowers having their own correspondences in sort of florist world as to what flowers you send at different times. So some of the uses, right, that maybe you haven't necessarily thought about, with roses. So there's one in here where you can make crystallized flowers with primrose, apple, rose, or violets. And it says, you know, take the edible flower blossoms, dry them, and separate them from the stem. You take a large egg white, a few drops of water, and some castor or superfine sugar. You combine the egg white with the water and beat it lightly. You dip a paintbrush into the egg white and paint the flower. Then you can sprinkle the sugar evenly all over on both sides. You can put it on some grease-proof paper to dry and allow it to dry for 12 to 36 hours, and you store it in an airtight container, and you can use them for cake decorations. So again, if you've ever seen flowers on a cake or other sort of baked goods, this is one way to sort of preserve them, is with sugar actually, and by drying them out in that way, which I thought was very cool. You can make your own cake decorations with flowers. I also found a rose petal jam, which I don't think I've ever had. That calls for roses, sugar, lemon juice, and rose water and water itself. You put the roses in a heat-proof bowl and set them aside. You put the sugar, the lemon juice, rose water, and water in a pan and bring it to a boil. Reduce the heat and simmer 5 minutes, then pour over the rose petals. You let it stand overnight, and then you put the mixture into a pan and simmer gently for 30 minutes until it thickens. So you can make your own rose petal jam, which sounds very light and nice. So something to do, right, if you have maybe your own roses. I read a section talking about herbs for the shower or bath. So like I said earlier, you can use roses. They are calming and soothing in like a bath or shower, and they are safe to do that, especially if they're organic or if you know they're not sprayed because they came from your own garden. Otherwise, again, you can definitely do it, just be warned that you don't necessarily know what's been put on those roses before you received them. Another one I found finally was rose petal vinegar, which I was like, well, excuse me, what is this? Which is like a home remedy apparently for headaches. And I was like, tell me more, as someone that gets headaches and migraines. So you fill a glass jar with rose petals, it says red or pink, cover with vinegar, white vinegar, and leave on a sunny windowsill for 2 weeks until the vinegar has turned a good red. Strain into a clean, dark bottle and seal. When you have a headache, pour some of the vinegar into a bowl and soak a clean flannel in it. Wring it out and apply it to your forehead. Repeat as necessary. It says you can also chill the bowl of vinegar in the fridge, which will help if your headaches are relieved by cold. So I don't totally know what the rose is helping with there. I don't know if it's a scent thing, but I thought that was super interesting. I might try that one because I actually picked some roses today for this for my altar for this episode, and to have pictures of, and so maybe I'll take the rose petals off and infuse some vinegar with it in the sun, which I love that it's going to turn red, and then yeah, use it for headaches. I'm very intrigued. So those are some interesting way to use roses today that I talked about. And I think that is it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a card to see if Rose has anything else to tell us, to share with us, to remind us about. And I love seeing all these Rose's tarot cards in front of me. I am going to pull a card from the Citadel, a Fantasy Oracle by Fen Inkwright. So not a tarot deck, but an oracle deck that I've been loving. It's my newest deck. Okay, so I'm I'm gonna give it a quick shuffle here. So Rose, what else do you have to share with us? And is there anything we're missing? Is there anything else we need to know? How can we, bring more pleasure into our lives, center those things, and just have more beauty and love? All right. Oh, interesting. I pulled the miser, stubbornness, and inflexibility, but reversed. So let's find out what that is about. Okay, so reversed, it says there is an authoritative power in your life who is causing a sense of oppression and discomfort, creating difficulties in their need to dominate others and control each situation. This power may even be you. The structures that have been put in place to provide stability have become rigid and controlling and aren't benefiting anyone anymore, except that changing the way it's always been done isn't always a negative thing. So, right, there's something in your life or someone or perhaps yourself that is really trying to control things, right? That is just like, oh, if we just follow the rules, if we just do this and sort of trying to control situations or people, then things will work out. And this card is telling us, right, like that is not working. Like we think that by controlling things or dominating things that means people will fall in line or the situations we can just figure everything out and control it. But it's letting us know, right, that's not benefiting anyone anymore, except that, right, that you can change the way it's always been done and that isn't a negative thing, right? Doing things differently is going to bring beauty, perhaps, and pleasure into our life. So, all right, so if you'd like to join me on a journey of using the tarot for transformation, you can click on the link in the show notes to indicate your interest in receiving more information about that. We will be working together for 12 weeks of calls and journaling to discover what happens when we want to transform our lives through the tarot. Links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them from this episode. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. You can email me, me@CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.